people, how are you today? Today is Random Cut Talk Thursday, and I was thinking about the impact of accidents. Something triggered me to actually think about it, and probably reminded me why I'm careful sometimes. Sometimes I'm really very careful. Sometimes I'm too much, and we have been reminding ourselves here for some time. Maybe sometimes we forget why we remind ourselves to be careful on the road, especially us, the guys that drive cars. On my side, a border has just passed me with 3 security guards as passengers. We all know under the law, a border is supposed to carry 1 person. A motorcycle is supposed to carry 1 person as passenger. So it's basically 1 driver, 1 passenger. That's how borders are supposed to be. And yeah, but borders carry as many as 4. One driver, and sometimes those passengers are police officers. Sometimes they're army officers. We've seen them. Pictures are there, and the impact of accidents, guys. It's serious. It's serious. You know, exposure is something else. You have a cotton film. Exposure is somehow also without the glasses. I think I'm too used. See that now you by that way. Rosa Balaba. See Balaba, I can come out and one. I can't. That might. I see, but not properly. So anyway, not very well, but I can see where we're going. Actually, it's better. Thank you. So, guys, we are talking about the impact of accidents, especially to you, the guys that own cars, to you, the guys that drive cars. It's Uganda is a very funny place. It's I want to think that it's generally Africa. That has the problems that we have. But majority of the problems we have are actually human problems. They are not the problems that come from the law. They are not the problems that come, but they are human problems. One of the problems we have that is human is the lack of information. With the lack of information, you see, yesterday the Umeme guys finally came and disconnected my neighbors that forcefully connected to my phone. And there is a lack of information about literally everything. I was talking to the Umeme guys. Apparently, so many people watch for the love of cars. So I talked to the network engineer. Then the network engineer was in office, and then he let me talk to some other guys in the office. One of the guys, I don't know what position he is. I think he's also an engineer, but I don't know what capacity he is. And we engaged, and we were basically talking, and I asked him, but then why don't you guys spread this information for people to know? The lack of information that we have, the lack of exposure, the lack of knowledge that we have causes us a lot of trouble, and that's widespread in Africa. Even our leaders kind of don't know what's going on sometimes. Muyombia Mark, Mujunansi Michael, Tusime Eddie, Antonio Random Things, Nick Waboyi, Paul Sema, Bukenya Abi, Tekasago, Football Tribe, Travel Like Vlog, na yoyo galo oyo mukolabo. Oyo no mwala mulokole ayimba gospel. Iwabwe tete yagana bamanyina kumanya nti yayimba oluyimba ye babo byo duyimba. Nze nange nagendo mulaba ngo oluyimba lwa God. I had never met the chick. Pade, Ak Vincent Balvids, Trey Ragnar, how to drive. Your eyes are about to cut off. They won't cut off. You know my glasses are the beginner glasses. My glasses have 1 lens. For your glasses, for your eyes to like cut off, you have to have this thickness of glasses. If you're kumpi, nganda bya kumpi nnyo. because we manganzi yako glasses nga wali sidaba oh yeah, it means I'm bad. But anyway, Council Patrick Asiku, Vinny Katz, Paul Banaria, good morning guys. So I've told you time and again, I've done videos where I was telling you to be careful on the road as you drive. I remember I did a video on TikTok that people took as a joke when I was telling them to hoot. Nimagamba kuwa PB. People took it as a joke. Me, I hoot. Every chance I get, I hoot. Not because I have bad manners or because I enjoy hooting or anything, but when you're driving a car in Uganda, that's the best you can do for yourself. And when you hoot, you're not doing it for the person that is in front of you or the person that is riding or driving recklessly. You're doing it for you. I find that every accident that happens, a car owner or a driver gets affected more. Even when you are not physically harmed, when you don't get health problems out of the accidents, you're more affected than anyone else. I find that whenever you can prevent an accident, prevent it. Whenever you can, and of course, one way for you to avoid and prevent an accident is to drive properly. Now, but when we say drive properly, drive carefully, it seems like all the guys that get accidents in Kampala don't drive carefully at all. But that's not the case. Even when you drive carefully, you can get an accident. We have a lot of border guys that I find are, for the lack of a better word, but siru. Ate obusiru is not a permanent thing. Eh? Obusiru is just a state which you can get out of when you decide to get exposed, to read more. You get it? And I find that along the way I learned why education is important. You know, we waste time in school and all that. No, we don't waste time in school. When you go to school, you first of all learn to associate with people. You learn how to share what you're supposed to share. You learn how to obey authority. You learn how to stay within the confines of the law. You learn how to read. You learn how to write. You learn that you need to do further reading. There are so many things that you benefit from education because of the lack of employment, lack of jobs in Uganda, the lack of opportunities in Uganda. We skip those things. Me, I find that the years that we are in school, from like year 3, I started school when I was 3 years, up to year 23. A person that finishes bachelor's degree normally finishes at 23. Up to year 23, I find that those years are very important for someone to be in school, because during those years you may not be taught how to drive a car or how to make money, but during those years you're taught how to live with other people. And the most important thing that we get from school is to grow up in the confines of something. To be, for those 23 years, you are confined in a place where you cannot be reckless. I'm going to take some time before I turn this camera to the road, because I want to make this point. The thing that happens with border guys, majority of the border guys we have in Kampala are not confined in that kind of environment for all the 23 years. Majority of the border guys are confined up to like 12 years, P7. And after P7, because their parents don't have the money to take them beyond, up to senior 1 and above, they go and start border riding. Or they get out of school, they start digging, they do this job, those funny menial jobs everywhere. And when they collect some money to go and deposit on a motorcycle, they go deposit on the motorcycle and they start riding without being exposed to the fact. There are facts that we get exposed to in high school, in secondary. In secondary, we get exposed to the fact that some people are better than you, they have more money than you. We get exposed to the fact that not everyone is your enemy. We get exposed to the fact that sometimes you'll be teased and it will be okay. Sometimes we get exposed to so many things. You get But most importantly about secondary school is that you are in your teenage years. You almost feel unruly. You feel like everyone else doesn't have sense. You know what happened during our teen years? When we were teenagers, we felt like we were on top of the world. Nobody else knew what we knew. We were the most knowledgeable. But then when you are in secondary school and a teenager, you still get beaten, especially here in Africa. In international schools, they don't beat those kids, but they put them in things like timeout. They put them in detention. They give them punishment. Yes, you as a teenager, you understand so much more than anyone else, but you still get punished and then there are those things that you learn. But majority of the border guys did not go through secondary school or high school education, so they don't know that. They're not exposed to that. They're not exposed to the fact that, you know what, my teacher knows more about what they're teaching me about, but they are still poorer than my dad who did not go there. So there are so many things that these border guys don't get exposed to, apart from just riding. That's why it's very dangerous to give a 12-year-old boy a border. But still parents do it. Maybe because the only money they can afford is a border. Or also because people get educated and they end up without jobs or opportunities. So parents are simply choosing not to take their kids beyond P7 because the kids can make money. I find that it's a very dangerous thing. What point am I making here? The biggest percentage, like I read a report about accidents from airport, and 70% were because of borders. A border was involved somewhere. Do you know what that means? Without borders on the road, we could avoid 70% of the accidents we have in Uganda. That's what it means. Without borders on the road, we can avoid 70% of the accidents on the road. But you know why we cannot avoid borders? Because our government has not done enough to create jobs for the young people. Our government has not done enough to make sure that all these young people are gainfully employed. You know, being employed and gainfully employed is different. The jobs that are being created mostly now by the government are jobs where they pay kids 7K a day. 7K a day is very little. You give someone 7,000 when in actual sense their home is consuming 15. So those are the jobs that are being created by the factories, but the Chinese create and all those things. So there are no jobs that are being created that can pay people proper money. You get it? And of course, even if they were created, majority of people are not really educated to the level where they can occupy those jobs. They're not exposed to the level where they can occupy those jobs. Some of the jobs in multinationals require that you have, let's say, a master's from a UK university. How many parents can afford to take their kids to the UK for a master's? Very few. You know, you'll find that it's ministers who have also been in the government for a very long time. So that's why you find that Sam Kutesa, was it Sam Kutesa's daughter that is at the top of the oil regulatory authority, something? And that's because it was him who could afford to take his kid abroad to study oil and gas at master's level. You get? So when the opportunity opened, of course he could pull some strings, but also the daughter was educated to that level. So yes, some jobs are there, but people are not educated enough to get there. Opportunities are here in Uganda, of course, to like exploit, but still people are not exposed to the knowledge to enable them to exploit those opportunities. So yes, majority of them end up with borders. Now, when we go to borders, there is a time I went to do a driving test, and banabaina promotion ichi. Kanda promotion baina abashero kuba njagala kunywa mafuta. Nze sagala nkofiira. Nywa fulu tanka mumpachi. Wanje? Nywa fulu tanka mbate mwina kyempanga nginda. Bagenda kuwe nkofiira ne coupon. Coupon yachi. Coupon wangula ingira mu dre wangula 1 million school fees. Ka scratch card kuli awo nyinyi wakati. Mwenye ngire coupon. Tuingize kuponi mzee tu. Kufurutanka bapa kuponi mmeka. Wanje? Kufurutanka bapa kuponi mmeka. Yakuwa boyagala zonga tuingiza mu nakulu. Mumpega butano. Njakuwa butano, njakuwa. Nzijuza tanka. Mukuro yagenda kujizao. Ona manyi. Abaye zikanfune kuponi za amafuta nga 5. Nja kuteeka ye enchante ekeyo oluddako. Oswana okumpa bungi. Mutaga ngawe yasabye. Kati nkola ntya? Omanyi mukama wange. Ogenda mu gundi.
naye ogenda kuwangula ogenda mu simu yo ogenda ngera mu simu yo anti the more you enter the more you win ogenda gena mu simu yo otekemu number plate y'emmotoka oleke space oscratchinge code eri omwo sindike ku 6688 ogirabye
mpisengawo banga ki
kati
okuteekamu akalala zombi zikozesa
otekamu ku maca olindamu notekamu ne kawungezi ne Airtel otekamu ku maca kawungezi siraba kitegeeza olunaku ingizamu nga buta
oli wakabi nnyo
mwana buwanguzi bwerere mutayitekamu na
muwulidde ngenda wangula school fees abasheera abasheero temuzimba mutima ngamba wagidde nyina risiti ndoza ziweze miliyoni 7 eza sheero kati bwoba olabye ng'oyinza okugira haka yange n'ogiyingira togiyingira sirika actually nyina risiti endala eya sheero wano nga nagitaddeyo mu office like nagitaddeyo nyina risiti ya sheero endala wano but anyway guys Saith agamba road accidents in Uganda aren't only human failure or DMC factor but also technical roads constructed without safety aspects in designing them. Saith, when you think about it, everything that you have talked about is also human failure. The failure of the roads authority, the failure of the roads authority, the failure of the roads authority to build roads, to construct roads that will make it very, very, very friendly to avoid accidents. That's also human failure. Je bali baba ebyango bimanyi julawo bwekikona ngo jam. Regarding safety, have they marked the road the road around the flyover insult? No, they have not. They have not yet done that. Football bampadde obuntu mukaaga kuno nyina okuwangula school fees million nkomyewo kasente kenzemba pa share kati namwe abatannanywa amafuta genda ku share bakuwe coupon egenda ku share bakuwe coupon naye nga tebajubisa putpadde bazigaba. It's just that era bwoba toyingidde ddo tosobola kumanya. Toddy Ronald, good morning. Nathan, good morning. Chris Fitness, Mugerwa Moses, Roman Rome, Deep in Coffee, JFK Arts, Paul Banaria, Banange Muri Mutia. So accidents, I'm still talking about the impact of accidents. There's probably one thing that we normally ignore, and I saw a clip generally young prompting to do this broadcast. I saw a clip of a man in his car. Simanya abamuku mumajirabi. He was a Muslim man nga yoche mmoroka ye. Nenge ekimoche mmoroka ye. Ekyabade kimoche se mmoroka ye. He knocked someone around Kanyanya. Bwe yatomera omuntu e Kanyanya, he says boda yakuba omukazi. Yeah? Omukazi n'agwa mu motoka. Okitegeera mu motoka ye. What he did, he got the woman, took her to a hospital. They started treating her. Nenga I know genda ku mulimu, I think a guru. So because yali ata ajjanjabya omuntu, yeah? Kabampe endala. Teka wano, nyola food tank. Teka wo.
What agenda?
Chikonye. Kibade chikonye. Kale. Receipt jimpeko. So guys, the fact is we agenda eyeguru ne reporting ku police. I think he just had to go to work. When he reported himself to the police, they told him, you know what? Park your car there. Then he parked the car. When he came back to the police, they told him, you know what? Ekanyanya je wadizo musango bakuyita. So I think he went to work and then asked for thingy. He asked to go to work to go and report himself. So he went to Kanyanya. When he went to Kanyanya, they locked him up. And as at that moment he was already paying the woman that was involved in the accident expenses. I think he was meant to pay around 3 million. So he paid the first million, nibamusiba. n'asasula miliyoni eyokubiri ne bamutta kati ng'abuzayo miliyoni etya miliyoni emu. But n'ateesa n'omukazi yali mu accident namugamba you know what emmotoka yange kkiriza bagite ngende nkole sente esobole okusasula. And okay, thank you. Omukazi ndooza nakkiriza, but then he goes to police neegaana okutta emmotoka. But he knew where the car was, and the police, I think he had more access to the place than the police. So what he did, he went and burnt the car. He moved it a little away from other cars, and then he burnt the car. Why did he burn the car? He was frustrated. Now, I find that the frustration he had can be understood, but I don't want to understand it because his frustration was purely out of ignorance. Let me tell you what happens when you get involved in an accident. Maybe then you guys will drive a little bit more carefully. Now, here I'm talking about cars that drive the Vitz RS, the guys that drive Subarus, the guys that drive the Blade, the guys that maybe celebrate getting a car and they take it too far. It's completely normal for you to. I used to drive the way some people drive. When I had just bought my first car, the Chibina, I used to drive very wildly. So this is what happens when you get involved in an accident. For an accident, you are supposed to go and report to the police that you know what, I got an accident. Ideally, when you get an accident, where you have gotten the accident from, don't move the car, leave it there. You get? You're actually not supposed to move the car until you get permission by a police officer. That's what it is. If someone gets involved in an accident with you and they are harmed, you're not supposed to take them to the hospital until you have permission from a police officer. You get? You're not supposed to move the car. That's what the law says. Yeah. So this person moved the car. That's the first thing. Then he took the person to the hospital. But the law doesn't know that. The law says don't take anyone to the hospital. You're not an ambulance. That's the law. You're not an ambulance. So namwe abatera okuvuga kukubo nosanga omuntu ofunye boda accident obateeka mu moroka, you don't. It's not your responsibility. It feels like when we speak like that we are heartless. It's not your responsibility to take another person to the hospital after they have gotten involved in an accident, especially when you're not the cause of the accident. Let them be. Vuga moroka yogende oba secho vuga moroka ogende to the next police station and you tell the officers there abaye ndabi accident wali. That's the only responsibility you have. You're not responsible for driving people to the hospital. You're not an ambulance. You're not an ambulance driver. Now, after the accident is involved, if you have to move the car because you're blocking traffic, you need to report to a police station, the nearest police station. The second thing this guy did was that yavuge moroka najije Kampala najitwale Gulu. That's the second thing that he did wrong. Or with ignorance we're frustrating omuntu. He was supposed to drive that car ajiteke kanyanya ku police akole statement atese ne bafande bagaye bananga afande moroka yange yiyo ngenda kudda nebo yalize mwaka gujja tebali fuddeyo kati bwe yagende Gulu. He reported and he was given police bond, which is okay. But then I think because he had reported at police station up country, he thought he had the right to talk to the police officers anyhow. So he came and talked to the police officers anyhow. The police officer will definitely put you inside when you talk anyhow. One reason you need to understand, there is a lot of ignorance, there is a lot of pain. Abantu bafe balina pain nyingi. You see the traffic police officers. For the guys that don't know, there is nobody that joins police when they want. Tali yo. People that join the police, majority of the time they join because they have nothing to do. I remember I have a family, and these guys, some of their children have joined the prison system as officers, but they did not join because they wanted. Like they were asking themselves, if you don't join the prison system, katogenda courage. And indeed, it's a viable opportunity for them. Never yingira kati office of prisons. But I will tell you that once someone enters the system, they start getting used to that environment. When people go for training, they get treated in all manners, in all sorts of ways. They are beaten, they are abused, they have to stand on the parade for how many hours. So you have to understand that the moment this person gets the moment this person gets a promotion, they become OC, DPC, they will frustrate you. They will try to show authority. I'll give you an example. A traffic officer will stop you. He will stop you. And after he has stopped you, he will say, I want to give you a ticket, but you come this way. Like for you to give me a ticket requires for me to go further off the road. If indeed I have a problem, why don't you issuing a receipt takes 30 seconds? Issue the receipt and let me go. No matter what in the Sigabanguzi, I am much more comfortable. I'm much more comfortable with getting a police receipt. If I have an offense, I will not do it again. So give me a receipt in the Sigabanguzi. You're either going to forgive me or you're going to give me a police receipt. The option is yours. But I'm not going to start sweet talking a traffic officer simply because I don't want them to give me a police receipt, because then I will not learn. So yoyo bwebamu memoroka ye bweyadda yeggulu bwebamutabwa mu bondi because asasudde abantu abamazeeyo. Still, this is ignorance. He had paid the woman who had gotten an accident. They had come to an agreement, and she said the moroka Nemoroka nebajiganira. The police in Kanyanya stopped the police in Gulu from letting the car go, which they have authority to do. But this guy, the ignorance he has is that he could have paid the police officer, the OC in Kanyanya, 200,000 bribe to let his car go. But he decided not to pay the bribe and he got frustrated. I know within his position, he had already spent a lot of money. But he could have spent like 200 to 500,000 and not lose an entire kakati ya field moroka million ya abidi. You get? I find that when someone is ignorant, they are prone to act rashly. They are prone to act out of emotion, which is what that guy did. Wishing UBE. That's around 18-20 million. Why? Because he was frustrated. He said, these guys are not going to keep my car, let me just burn it. But still, he's going to be arrested. That's the thing he doesn't know. You get? That's the thing he doesn't know. So now that we have understood that situation, this is the impact of an accident to you as an individual. If you're driving a car in Kampala, the one thing you need to understand, is that if you're involved in an accident and somehow it seems like you have more money, you're going to suffer. Whether you're at fault or not, you're going to suffer just by the virtue of looking like you have more money than the other person. In Uganda, the law sometimes favors the person that has money only when you're willing to give bribes. Yeah? If you're not willing to give bribes, the law does not favor you and your money. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. And that's not the norm. The sooner we understand, the better. It's the norm. Which is why I say, in the traffic, it's not the worst that could happen to another person. Let me give you a scenario. I'm driving right now. There are two things that could happen. A traffic officer could stop me and tell me, Arthur, you're driving a car that is in dangerous motor vehicle condition. Quarter receipt ya mitwalo mukaga. There is also another thing that could happen, that the border guy could drive recklessly, fall into my car, and I end up spending like $1 million shillings. So which one is worse? A border guy falling in my car. So 60,000 is very little money. Mulekera okugaba enguzi, by the way, kitandikire kuffe. Lekera okugaba enguzi, ekyo gaba enguzi genda bobe moroka ye ine ekizibu genda ogikole. Genda ogitereze togaba enguzi. You get what I'm saying? Today kwa accident. If you're involved in an accident, manya, I've told you time and again, Border guys, they know one thing. Because the border guys contribute to 70% of the accidents. The borders were not planned for in the city. That's the thing you need to know. Teba planning border. Or better still, they never planned for borders this many. They never planned for borders this many. They never planned for borders this many. They planned for motorcycles, but not this many. I think you remember the time when they had safe border. I think they literally had over 25,000 border guys, and there were still many other borders that hadn't joined safe border. Whatever that border safe border that has passed us is 25,773. These guys had over 50,000 borders. Now 25,000. Safe border. So safe borders were just too many. The borders are too many. But one thing you need to understand: one, border guys are not exposed, or at least majority of them are not exposed. Two, border guys will burn your car without even thinking. One, they are angry. Banyivu. And I understand why they are angry. One, some of them went to school. They studied. Abamba in a degree. Abamba in a degree. But even with their degrees, they could not find jobs. Yeah? Even with their degrees, they could not find jobs. Yeah? Even with their degrees, they started businesses that they thought they were qualified in, and they were frustrated by someone who wanted a bribe sometime. So they are angry just for that. Two, even as they come on the road, they're still being frustrated on the road by officers for things that the border guys think are not fair. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Yes, when they get arrested for not having a license, a driver's license, it's purely right. But they're asking themselves, is the driver's license the one that rides the motorcycle? You get? Now, out of their ignorance, their question is also valid. Their question is valid. It's not right, but it's valid. Because according to the information they're exposed to, they don't need a rider's license for them to ride. Some of them started riding motorcycles at 11 years. And he comes to the road at 16, you're asking for a driver's license. He knows even if he went to start and apply, he will not get it. So yes, there is a lot of ignorance. Now, the ignorance doesn't even stop with border guys. Because a person that burns another person's car because of an accident is an idiot. Because they're angry. They think you guys that have cars have taken away all the opportunities and all the money they should have. So yes, they are angry about that as well. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Secondly, there is no sensitization about how to drive on the road. There is no sensitization. So border guys, car drivers, all don't know the right way to drive on the road. Now they have ignored it because you knowing can get you abused. You driving the right way can get you abused on the road. You get it? And you don't want to be abused on the road simply because you're doing the right thing. So katinga nabo batandika okukola amanyanga. Ontegeera. And nabo batandika okukola amanyanga because it's the normal thing to do. The switching of lanes, the going through traffic lights. Okitegeera. Ebyo byonna bina because now katechikoma ku border riders, never drivers, the ignorance. The ignorance goes all the way to even the officers in police, in government ministries. You get it? There is a lot of ignorance on what our famous is. They are switching. I don't know if you guys get what I'm saying. So there is a lot of ignorance. You're going to start. The reason why I encourage you guys to hoot as you drive is because hooting will save your life. It will save you a lot of trouble. Every time you don't hoot, these border guys, you see by side mirrors, but they never look at them. But also the border guys, some of them don't make money. They are waiting for someone to knock them down so that they say, but then call them to kumi GMP. And then they stay on the hospital, bribe with the doctors, some of them are like that. Now, for a person that doesn't, that thinks it's not possible, they will say, it's true. It's only people that have been involved in accidents that know. Nathan is a sober politics. You get it? So this is what I think, guys. As you drive on the road, be careful for yourself. For you, don't drive properly for anyone else. For you. Nze I drive on the road I hood. Chemanye bisere mumpulira nga nkube ngombe. Sijikuba nti nyina amaalo. Bana baboda bawulira olimi lumu ngombe. Nabe motoka abamba bawulira ngombe. Okitegeera abantu abayina empisa embi, guys, it's not just about ignorance. Some people just have bad manners. Abantu abayina empisa embi. The word bad manners seems like we are P1 kids, but people have bad manners. Hey, you'll be surprised. Someone will say kankutomere we panka. You get it? Okukuba mutima mubi ogoti kiriko ki okukuba mutima mubi, and people have that kind of heart. Okitegeera but frustrated. Comment ça va? Kale kansobe comment. Bana ngera teka mu kuponi naro. Todi Ronald abagambe like the broadcast. You guys are 43, you have only 16 likes. Like the broadcast. Abdur Nasaf, Football Tribe agambe, accidents are very bad. Even when it's a minor accident, you end up losing a lot of time and sometimes resources. You lose money as a car driver. You lose money whether you like it or not. I also watched that video. It was a touching story. Today the camera is it's the network, I think. Yes, the guy was frustrated, but when you look deep into, or your guy is trying to hide evidence. Maybe it was more than his statement. No, he's not trying to hide evidence. He's frustrated. For him, it's normal. Frustration here is okay, but it's out of ignorance. So guys, I gave you an example of a cousin of mine, but the only thing he did was drive the guys that were taking the car. The guys that were taking the car were even given bond because he was trying to be law abiding, and we had to pay bribes to get him out. We did. I cannot say that they were bribes, but I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were. Banning the car was not right. His emotions won over. That's why we should. I also realize that you either issue the receipt and I pay, or give me a warning. Exactly. Traffic officers are not supposed to take bribes from us. And then I find that traffic officers, I think they have been training nachi na ibo afuna we modoka yagara kunyigiriza nze sagara kunyigiriza nze nabona dda nze emitwalo 10 emitwalo 6 tekikyambonya tejinziza bali kutandika kunegayiriza ositegeera tejinziza bali. Now that I've paid millions in traffic violations, I'll never pay bribes when in Uganda. Don't chitwale nga bwe kiri ata lwaki tewese pass kolekerawo. Since when this channel turned into a religious contention, I see some difficult content. Where is the religious contention, Patrick? Where is the religious? I have not seen anything religious. I think it's just Sibiraba. Sibiraba be religious, but I'm blocking the guys that are putting comments that don't make sense. Hello, Arthur. Been a while. Amina, Jeremy, you're lost. I saw someone driving an Alphard crashing a Primo intentionally because it entered the lane where he was in traffic. It's exactly, Edwin. Some people are angry. Some people have been frustrated. Why would you scratch another person's car because they are entering the lane? It's like when they enter the lane, do you lose anything? If they go before you, do you lose anything? So anyway, guys, we need to be careful because as a car owner, katimunda banze wano atha sirina bwendi. But I will tell you that when a traffic officer looks at me when I've been involved in a traffic offense, natunulira akamotoka kange, natunulira alaba we mitwalaga, I'm telling you, this is a fact of life in Uganda, that's, and I think generally Africa. A traffic officer will look at you, look at your car, look at you, look at your car, and he will see 500k. So try as much as possible to not get involved in accidents. Drive as carefully as you can. Hoot. And the other thing that probably you guys have, I see so many people don't do it. When you're driving on a Maram road, they are in the villages. Vugira mo full lights, put full lights. Why? You see these border guys. Bati kebi into atika ke chitanda in Sao Yamanda. They don't even give warnings. They don't put reflectors. In Sao Yamanda jaku kona. Aten Sao Yamanda we na kona yena agwa. Umusangu jaku singa gwembu gwa mutomede because you're driving. The guy is driving a motorcycle. So once you understand that, literally in all scenarios of accidents, you're the person to pay, you start being a little bit more careful. After, by the way, how did you conclude with the Umeme issue? Apparently, there is no law to make someone pay you for connecting to your pole, but Umeme also understands that the government cannot cover all the places. So they do a community liaison job. They make sure they disconnect those people until you guys agree. Because Gunomatigu Agureta, si Umeme Yagureta, see government, so those people are supposed to contribute to the cost. So what happened is I talked to the network engineer, never disconnecting. They even gave them notice for them to go report to Umeme Bombo. Yeah, and when they go to Umeme Bombo, then they'll call us to turenga abantu to kanyeba to sasura. Then the network engineer allows them to reconnect, get a person to reconnect. They told me if they reconnect without going to the network engineer, yeah, then they will come and take all the Ayaka meters. Why they are doing that? They are forcing them to be communal because Umeme understands. Now I'm talking like I'm a PR officer, but I'm happy with the way they handled it. I know that not everybody gets the luxury of being handled the way I was handled. I was handled because my video went far. But the process now that you know, go muntu wajana connecting akumutigo ngatakuwa desente mu kitundu kyononya network engineer wo. Oyogere naye bajja ku disconnecting amasanyalaze ago paka bwakuwa sente because omutyogo wagusaamu sente si government yaguleeta. Kitegedde. Arthur, where can I do proper diagnosis of my car wiring? You can buy your car is a 2008. You can buy a diagnosis tool if you really need it, but I don't think you need it. Just get a good wiring person if you have a wiring issue. You text me to Labeche Ekola. I think traffic police should tell large trucks to keep left unless when overtaking. They annoy when driving slowly in the right lane. Vincent, let me tell you why those guys drive in the right lane, for you to understand. Trucks are normally loaded. The left lane is normally leaning like this. Look at it. You see the left lane? It's leaning. Now, when a truck is loaded, it needs to move balanced. Either you'll find that sometimes the truck drivers drive in the middle of the road because so the right lane is a little bit more balanced for the trucks. So they are trying to keep the truck safe and other road users because at border. We should learn to say sorry when involved in an accident. It matters a lot to someone wronged on the road. We should learn to say sorry, but sometimes it doesn't matter, Council Patrick. Sometimes it doesn't matter whether you say sorry or not. Some people are out to get you. Accident border. When I'll tell you this, because unless someone has driven a car before, when they are on a border, the person driving the car is an enemy. My plumber told me, of course I influenced him to buy a car, but before he bought a car, you get it? But before a border guy sits in the driver's seat to see how the other guys drive, they will always see you as an enemy. So sometimes it doesn't matter whether you say sorry or not. And for them, it doesn't matter whether they are in wrong or not. Why? They have numbers. You'll get involved in an accident with the border guy and he's at fault. Then you'll collect 10 other borders who were not there. They'll come and say we were there. Hey. Well, guys, me have been involved in an accident. Nadia Kasanga, I was coming from the right, going inside. From the left, going inside. The cars that were coming towards me stopped. All of them. And I came. And indeed, my car had a guard. It was a dude. The guard would have treated them even badly. To minimize the damage both on my car and on them. The border guys at my stage abatera okumvuga kabali barabye kigenda maso. Benali manyi nti ba neighbor. Even one of them was my neighbor. Bajja ne bagamba no avuze buyanda yagala kutta muntu bichi. The thing that helped me is the moment I knocked, I called someone who knows the law. They told me atakubadde ka abasaba. Say yes. What abasaba zo batwali mu ddwaliro. Bumara batwala mu ddwaliro bawe emitwalo ng'ebiri basigning enti tebabanja. I did that. The people that were on the border sign, I wasn't at fault. Tebamanja and ne bansigningira endagaano ne mbawayo ebiri ne bagenda ne balinya board and they left. Then a traffic officer came on scene. When the traffic officer came on scene, he asked the border guy for a truck driving license. He did not have any. The border did not have a permit. He did not have tires. Omuntu gwe nali nebuzaako nangamba, you know what, ata mugende ku police. Bwe yatalina permit. Ne muganga tugende ku police ebyo tubimalire ebyo. Gali n'akulula piki n'agenda. Because ekisoka yali avuga, you know how border guys can take from the left. Ekirala kye mulina okumanya mumanye mu kumateeka. Nobody is supposed to overtake from the left, but borders do that. You just get. If said ebimwe, me I find that olumu. I think for the love of cars to jakola yoka fandi cafe, so that we support car owners that believe they were not in wrong. But never tufunyeyo ne baloya about subsidizing era ku fees zaabwe. Ngaalaba asobola okudefending omusango ogwo mu court. Tukiri omuntu wafa sacrificing agendeyo. So that we defend. So that we probably katomulabo yo waboda atise ensawo y'amatooke takkirizibwa. He's not supposed to have that. But because he's a border guy, aba traffic babalemererwa. By the government has failed on the borders, probably because there are so many voters, they can strike and all. Katolabe eri border wali eri ebudde. Obalaba abantu we bali. The border has fallen. Kubaddeko omusabaze wuli awenyera mukazi wake. Kati awo oyo wa border kagudde ngowe motoka gwamukonyeeko olwo bagenda okusasula obuyagala oba toyagala, because you look richer than him. So I think that's the biggest mistake you can make. Look richer than other people even when you're not rich. Okitegeera. Then we also have a problem of those guys above gives the Morokaza government. Those guys are too bad on the road. They behave with impunity. That guy will drive badly and then get a pistol out on you, just to show you that he can do whatever he wants. I find that in Africa we actually have a problem of the problem is mostly people. They can be solved when the people sort themselves. When people get exposed, when people get educated, all those things can be solved. All those things can be solved. So when you're driving on the road, guys, when avuge moroka, be very careful. Not for other people, be careful for you. Because in all situations, you're the person that loses. Bana baboda abemoroka endala bogendo tomera tebagenda kufiirwa, gwafiirwa. Okitegeera, gwafiirwa. So you need to be very, very careful. Mpoze ekirala nakibagamba dda, nabagamba majority, most of these border guys are actually security guys. They're not just borders. They're in security. So it's because they go in literally all places, so they help the government collect intel. So the borders are not going anywhere. And maybe probably until they educate them kati oyo wa boda mumulabo ya avuga wanu mumuloza nti wa boda just oyo si wa boda just omusajja wa police n'akanyiriro kalina kenyini afuna emisaala ebiri avuga boda n'akola ssente n'afuna n'omusaala gwa gavumenti n'afuna n'ogw'okubega. Arthur, besides the learning terrains, the leaning terrains, the left lane is usually busy with borders, taxis moving off or on, so it becomes complicated for the truck drivers. They can easily knock these other road users. Yes, but I think I saw that a lot on the northern bypass, because amakuba agalimu ababoda abanje nnyo ebisere ebisinga ategabaga one lane. But nature na kikulu naffe ffennyini, when I'm driving on a 2-lane road, I try to keep in the right lane. Not because simanyi lwaki or okubeera mu right lane, but because the left lane ababoda bascratching emotoka. I'm glad someone responded with some sense to your electric pole issue. Those guys can annoy. Yeah, but baby, they just have bad manners. Cutting in concert about bad manners. It's the word that you can use and not be abusive. Because at a certain point my neighbor was responding in a funny way and I told him, why are you being primitive? Be civilized. Act like you know my neighbor, on top of not wanting to pay to access the poll. When I told him, then he sends me a WhatsApp message that is so civil. He even ends by saying yours truly in WhatsApp. You get, for people that did not engage us properly, he sends a WhatsApp message and he ends yours. I told him you don't have to be civil now. You have not been civil all along. You get, just sora akasente to covering a cost yemitije to ask. So anyway, guys, better careful while on the road. There is a lot. You could end up going broke. By the way, abantu bavoid the accident yezo. Let me tell you, omuntu njagala gula ku wiper wano ku city oil, so ngendo basi ulira n'obudde bwange bwebudde kikasatu zezibulayo. Kati mumulabe oyo wa boda achamye tatunudde na mabega ayinza okuba U-turn yawe era akubye U-turn. All of a sudden. Okitegeera, all of a sudden. So but guys, chonna chokola manya gwafiirwa. I've seen boda guys say nkoonako nja kwavuwaza. And it's omuntu asobola okubeera awo mbagambye abantu abasinga abali omu ba traffic. I mean siba traffic bambega. Kati omuntu mbega ne bw'onooba oyagala otya omuntu mbega aina access to police more than you ne bw'onooba okola otya. The access this person has is more than the access you will ever have ne bw'oba oyagala otya. Okitegeera? This means nti asobola okugenda ku police n'aloopa buli musango gwonna gw'ayagala ne bakusiba n'akola influence yonna nga tataddemu yadde n'ekikumi n'akulemezaayo ne bakutunza ebintu. You guys have seen those things. You have seen instances where a guy ayagala akawala ng'akawala ka myaka 2 buli omu akimanyi, because in Uganda people can even create birth certificates. Abazadde ne bajja ne bamukwata ne bagamba mwana wa myaka 16 ne bamusaayo just to show him tusobola okussaayo n'obeerayo ne bateekamu ne ssente nga balina abaana abatasoma tebalina fees naye nga ssente ziteekayo omuntu bamusibe zo bakola ki zo bazirina. So you need to be very careful. Okitegeera. And most Ugandans, we don't check the condition our brakes regularly. The most times I think errors will start from there. True. Ugandans emmotoka emala gaana kusiba n'alyoka akebera brakes. Hello Nara alinga ente eyabuze. How can you comfortably drive a one way? Anti our security nze mbagambi era be very careful when you get involved in wrangles with border guys. They are not just border guys. Otherwise senga atokumanya border ezo zali ma government. You remember eri wagulelinga after Buganda Road Zirumumba Avenue ezo bali baganda yo border nga bataddewo no upande no borders allowed. Borders are there now. Nga no upande webuli no borders allowed, but they are driving there. Arthur Osalo mugambo nti border guys work in security. Ate ogwo mugambo gwe tokimanyi nze mbakata mbabulira out of experience. We have ever gotten involved in something with the border guy. Ye yankona nenvuga nemugaja tugende ku police nagamba tugendeyo ne tuka ku police ne bamukubira saluti. So gwe ekyo kyoyogerako nze nkimanyi. It has happened to me at that time. I won't know danyo nga China na ina akava campus. That's around 2013. Ne bamukubira saluti. nenga avuga boda ngera yambadde ebigoyegoye byabwe bibambala si mugambo itesenga kibadde tekintukangako nali badde nsana mugambo nekyantukako mugirwa I mean travel life vlog. Did you see the article in Daily Monitor released about border riders being fat? Yeah, I did. We all have weight, meaning their business is lucrative. Not just their business, they do other things as well. Uganda yafe ejjudde jogo from our leaders kujoga buli akuli wansi, and that's the norm. Aha, uli mutufu. Arthur Sebonze, a border guy will never joke around with me. I am the law. Giovanni. The Uganda najita. Actually, it's always better for you to be humble. You lose nothing. That's one thing I've learned. Whenever I can, I be humble. But when I know there is a remedy, like a traffic officer okunyimiriza, atayagala okunziza ebbali anegayirize. No. Onegayirize nga atoyagala nkuwenguzi, mpe ekipapula kyange ngende nkisasule. Okitegeera asiba emundu mu kikutiya ku pichi. I saw someone nga asibye emundu. Kati abo police mwe mulowooza mbuno ki? Guys, kamba sibule. Nenga mwabavuge moroke Kampala, be very careful. Uganda eno yakwegendereza nnyo because amateeka weegali olumu gakolera balina ssente olumu gakolera baavu ne ganyigiza abalabika nga abalina ssente. Mu Uganda emu ku nsobi gy'oyinza okukola y'okulabika nga alina ssente. Okitegeera. So try as much as possible to not look like you have money. Chovola abantu balina omuze bambala bubi. You've seen those rich men abambala obubi. Bondoza ense banyigirizaamu kati babivaako ebyokwagala okulabika ne ssente zaabwe. Alabikira ddala nga atalina yadde ekikumi. Okitegeera. Kamba sibule. Muyombya Mark Mujunansi, Michael Tusime, Eddie, Antonio Random Things, Nick Wabuyi, Paul Sema, Bukenya Abite, Kasago, Football Tribe, Travel Life Vlog, Mutumba Pade, Ak Vincent, Balvids, Vinny Katz, Council Patrick Asiku, Paul Banalia, Seth Kagaba, JFK Arts, Deep in Coffee, Mugirwa Moses, Duburo Chris Fitness, Nathan, Roman Rom, Saith Nkumaze Ndowoza, Mutumba Pade, Toddy Ronald, Mukaya Ronald, Derek Lule, Matembe Abdur Nasa, Toddy Ronald Nkumaze, Valerian Seru Nkuma, yes, ni wabawe yatuyingiriddawo, Nathan Namumaze, Edrin Mugerwa, Council Patrick Asiku, Jeremy, Vincent W, Nara Apiara, Nabali Mukamoli, I don't take you for granted, thank you very much. Juko Nicholas, Jovan Mugume, Kwezi Emmanuel, Joshua. Hey, how is Munich? Arthur, you find people driving with stress. Hey, driving school in Uganda. All those driving schools, they are owned by big people. So you just go and play dumb, play stupid, get your driver's license, get out of there. That's one thing you need to know. Just get the one that you can trust in your heart. What are businesses in this chair recommending? Because those businesses either survive on chance or their connectivity. Nze nyina driving school gye nagendamu, I will not mention it now because bansortinga, and I spent like 4 months nga sifuna permit yange ng'empapula zange bazisuula. Eventually namala bakanga nembagamba mwengenda genda ku TikTok muleka temumanyi mbakube omukazi nangamba jangu bino ne babinoonya n'emisanga byonna byayulika oba baali babisuulawa nengenda nenfuna permit yange ku olwo. Okitegeera guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, on the road you are on your own. Nobody's going to protect you. Nobody's going to fight for you. So whenever you can, avoid getting into trouble either with government, avoid getting into trouble with border guys, even with pedestrians. One thing you need to understand is that pedestrians will get money out of you whenever they can. And so I think Uganda is also full of a lot. We have a lot of poverty around. So people are going to try to get as much money out of others as they can. Obwavu bungi. And because obwavu bungi, buli muntu asobola ofuna sente ez'obwere bagezezaako bakoze buli kimu kikoze eki kiganye. Kati balwana nnyo buli asobola okufuna sente ez'obwerera amilkinga. Okitegeera. So when you're driving in Uganda, try as much as possible and be careful. It's actually one of the reasons why in Nzenga Arthur I decided to move in the village. Nti bwembere mu village, there is a kind of peace that you get. Tedi kizibu kusanga fe mu estate yafe kizibu kusanga ba boda nga bavugirayo. N'okuvuga ekyo ekimama tokisangayo. So as long as I enter my home, my area, the trouble ended. Okitegeera fe waffe kizibusa nti boda yatomedde omwana tebiriiyo nti motoka zeetomedde tebiriiyo. So the environment, and I find that mukama bwampa ku ssente mba ngenda kugula kololo okitegeera diipo eyo mukololo eyali amayumba gagali corporate naye maama gagulikako okitegeera. And I find that abantu ababadde ebweru nga basafe, now I understand why when you come you go and buy houses in national housing. It's a little bit more organized. You're not surrounded by all this poverty. Plamba wange yangambi naye wali ayagala kusengukawo because of things like that. But guys, katunyumya olunaku lw'enkya. Tomorrow is question Friday. Questions about cars we'll answer tomorrow. May God bless you. Ciao.